This is Comic Geek Speak, episode 105. And welcome to Comic Geek Speak. I'm Brian Deemer.
I am Peter Rios.
Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Such a morbid opening to our show. This episode of Comic Geek Speak is sponsored by the New York City Comic Con, happening February 24th, 25th, 26th at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. Tickets for Friday are $15. Saturday and Sunday are $25 each, or $35 for all 3 days. Anybody and everybody in comics will be there. So please come down and join us.
Including us.
That's right. We're going to be there.
With our convention tour t-shirts.
That's right. And Mr. Mike Norton will be there, and we will be shacked up with Mike off and on at his table. So if you're looking for us, look for Mike Norton in Artist Alley. And if you have the money and the desire, support Mike. Get a sketch from him because he's so kind to help us out. And any other announcements, Peter? I don't have anything written down.
No new announcements other than check the news section. I know we've been saying it for a couple episodes now, but check the news section on our website. If you're a person that doesn't like the forum, doesn't like to go through message boards, that's totally cool. Check out the news. We're trying to put up at least one new thing a day or every other day. And we have the convention tour up there, t-shirt up there. We'll have the Indie Challenge picks, so you can check out to see what those are, and etc. We also have our Pulse article that's up there. Our article that was done by Rob Schwager for Comic-Con's The Pulse. So you can get to a link on that page as well.
Cool. Well, for this episode, we're going to start out with a short interview with Greg Topalian, the guy who's in charge of organizing the New York City Comic Con. So for a little insight into how the show works and some things about it, listen in. Hello, Greg.
Brian.
Can you hear me all right?
I can hear you fine.
Okay, Greg, I'm here with Peter.
Hi, Peter.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good.
All right. So for all those in our audience, Greg is the... what is your official title, Greg?
I am actually my title is Group Vice President at Reed Exhibitions.
And you're in charge of putting together the New York Comic Con.
I am.
Now, are you a comic book fan?
Yes and no. I'm a fan, but I wouldn't say that I'm not an old school collector. But I do like the category, and really probably came to it more. I ran the Book Expo America, which is the trade show for the book industry.
Sure. And
the comic graphic novel area was sort of a keen area of interest for me.
Cool. So let's start at the beginning. How did you and Reed get involved in coming up with the New York Comic Con?
It really started with the comic and graphic novel area at Book Expo America was our fastest growing category. So in an effort to learn, to learn more about it and to sort of understand it better, we did a lot of research. And probably a cornerstone moment was in a meeting with Diamond Comics. The conversations with Steve Jeppe and myself turned towards, geez, it's a shame there isn't anything really big on the East Coast. It's sort of it doesn't seem fair to the industry. So much of it is on the East Coast, and the only really big events are in the Midwest or on the West Coast. So I really just sort of threw out to him, this is what I do. Would you want to have a show on the East Coast? And he said, yeah. So that's kind of the original origin of the show concept, was in a meeting with Diamond.
So now I guess there have been shows in New York in the past, but some of them have shut down, and they claim things like cost of doing business in New York and unions and limited space or, outrageous prices at convention centers and things like that. Are you experiencing any of that? Has that been a challenge?
Yeah, New York is challenging, and I think you sort of have to look at it as it's a big bet, but it's worth it because New York brings so much extra value to the equation of why the show I think is going to be a great success. The biggest challenge with New York is venue. Is if you want to have an event that's large, that has the space for screenings and major celebrity appearances, it has to be at the Javits Center. There's really nowhere else you can do it, and the Javits is almost completely booked. I mean, it's a building that you can call every day for a year and never find any dates to run a show. We were really very fortunate that we had this concept that we talked to Javits about it, and an event was canceled or moved, and the dates became available. So that's probably the first big issue. I actually think the whole issue of unions and it's impossible to work in these buildings, that actually in my mind is a fallacy because almost every convention center in the country is a union building. So if you're smart about how you exhibit at a show, those really don't matter. I think it's much more people just didn't they didn't have the dates. As for extra expenses, it is expensive to be in the Javits, doing shuttle busing, doing advertising. All of those things are definitely expensive, and I think it's fortunate that we are a big company, that we are absolutely investing in this show. We will lose a lot of money this year, and if the fans knew how much money we were losing, they'd either think we were totally crazy, or they'd appreciate that we had such a long view on what we were trying to build here. But I think New York offers so much extra in terms of the media attention that we think the show will get, the trade aspect of the show, the comic retailers, booksellers, major buyers from places like Barnes & Noble, the licensing and rights community. Those are things that you just get when you're in New York that you really can't get when you're anywhere else.
I'm happy to hear you say that your plans are long term because last year I had the opportunity for the first time to go to San Diego Comic-Con, and I was blown away. And
it's amazing.
If in 5 or however many years the New York Con could begin to catch up to San Diego, it would be really great to have something that awesome in our backyard.
There's no doubt about it. The San Diego show is the cream of the crop. That's definitely the gold standard for these type of events. But I think that's sort of back to the conversation with Steve Jeppy at Diamond is who can go. That's a big expense for someone on the East Coast to get on a plane and to stay 3 or 4 nights in a hotel. And New York it's the publishing capital of the world. I mean, it's in many cases many people view the origins of comics are all in New York. So we would love to do that, and I think they're certainly an inspiration. You look at their show, and I think that's something to hold up and say, wow, someday if we can be that impressive, that would be great.
So now, in checking out the website and reading all the emails, the list of people attending the New York Con is almost mind-blowing. In fact, it almost seems as if there are more creators at this show than I remembered hearing about at San Diego last year. How did you manage to pull off that many people?
It's a good question. I sometimes look at the list now and think, I look back to 9-10 months ago when we announced the show and didn't have any confirmed speakers, and it sort of blows me away thinking, my God, how did we end up with this many? I think a lot of it really is just we kind of couldn't help ourselves, that the industry has been incredibly supportive, that really people have been reaching out to us saying, I'd be happy to appear, I'd be willing to make time, because they want it to succeed. They want a big show in New York, and they think it's good for the business. And so in that sense, it's been easy in that people have been so helpful and supportive that we didn't have to fight, or beg for support. And I think some of it is we almost just became like kind of kids in a candy store, that the names were so good, and we just kept saying, like, well, we can't turn down, this, I don't want to say any names, but you can't turn down this guy. He's fantastic. And So we've just kind of continued to say, you know what, for a fan, this should be a great experience, and I think the more we invite, the merrier. And I think fans are so specific about who they like that I don't think you can have enough. And I think that's so I think you want to make sure you're kind of covering all your bases and having some of your old school guys, some of your newer guys. You have your Marvel, you have your DC, so you have a real balance of talent at the show.
And you also have a lot of other things, like not just the comics field,
Sure.
but there's other stuff going on as well, correct?
Yeah, well, that's probably one of the hardest things to measure. Is we look at this and we're launching this show, and it's a good sized show for a first year. But the hardest part is really it's almost like launching several shows in one, because to the anime world, there are top anime companies that you want on your exhibit floor with their latest products, and you better have great screenings and talent and autographing. So there's a whole anime page on our website, that goes into all those details. Having games is a whole other world. Mm-hmm. Making sure that we have video game tournaments, that we have collectible card game and role play games, and have great programming for them is if that's what you're into. So that has definitely been one of the hard parts for us. But one of the ways we sort of manage that a little bit is we have reached out to sort of experts in the field. So I'm sure you guys are probably aware one of the biggest shows for anime is a show in Baltimore called Otakon. Mm-hmm. Well, one of the gentlemen who puts their programming together, Terry Chu, did all of our programming for anime.
Great,
because that's his world. On the gaming side, our strategic partner is Gen Con, which is the top show for the gaming world, the show that's in Indianapolis. So realizing sort of what you don't know, I think, is pretty important with shows like this.
Sure.
Making sure that you reach out to the people that know what they're doing, so that it's a great experience for everybody.
Do you have any of the movie companies representing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we have in a couple of different ways. Several of them are in booth space. So we have New Line, Lionsgate. Just to name a couple of them, I think there's a few more. But if you go to our special events page and go to movie and TV schedules, we have a number of really cool events going on. I mean, Sci-Fi Friday Night is the Sci-Fi Channel is previewing some of their shows on Friday night. Advanced screenings. We have we're going to be running some trailers of upcoming movies, some that I can't talk about yet, that are going to be really awesome. We have, for instance, we have Philip Dick from A Scanner Darkly, and we'll have a clip from that movie. We'll have the entire screening of Art School Confidential. So there's a lot of Hollywood programming and representation.
That's cool. That was one of the things. I don't mean to keep comparing everything to San Diego.
Well, that's kind of hard to compare to. Yeah.
But that was one of the things that I was surprised to see in San Diego, was that in addition to the 1,000,001 things related to comics, there was also, like you said, anime, video games, and movies studios out the wazoo, and it really took it up a notch and added diversity for
the certainly the caliber of stars they get out there is pretty amazing, and some of the screenings they get are really are absolutely phenomenal. But I do think that one of the things that is so interesting about this category is, it isn't just, it's not just comics. It really is becoming, and I think major, studios, consumer products companies, I think major corporations are realizing that this is a very influential consumer demographic. It's not just comic fans, but their reach into influencing other areas like video game, like movies, is very significant. And I think that's why why the traditional, if you look back 20 years ago, the sort of small comic convention has turned into what some of these shows are turning into.
Well, comic fans are by and large pop culture fans.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
So they have a broader appeal.
And talk about being in New York. I mean, you step out on the street and there's nothing but pop culture. I imagine a lot of these days, a lot of these nights are going to keep going into the wee hours of the morning with all the after parties and just New York in general.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's another thing, is it's just such a New York's such a cool place to be.
Exactly.
we're doing our best to sort of facilitate those late nights. We have some late night official parties that are, we have an anime exodus at the Knitting Factory, but I'm already starting to, on all the blogs, I'm starting to hear about some of the private after parties and things that some of the publishers are holding, which is great. I love seeing that because I think that's what makes these things, fabulous experiences.
Did you grab a copy of like a farmer's almanac to make sure that weekend is going to be clear of weather?
Actually, it's funny you say that. Certainly, I am concerned. In late February, we run other shows that are in the winter in New York, and there's always a bit of a risk factor there, and it's unfortunate. But I will tell you, as a matter of fact, we have actually referred to the Farmer's Almanac, and at this point, it says that it is supposed to be unseasonably warm but rainy.
Hey, I'll take that.
I would take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure, why not?
I guess in New York, it's not the worst because if it did snow, the people who live in the 5 boroughs can still get there with ease with the transit system. It's maybe those of us driving 3 hours away that might have a problem, but you still got 8 million plus people to choose from, so that's still pretty good potential turnout.
Yeah, I mean it's definitely something that these days kind of keeps me up a little bit at night. But I think you're right. I think the passion of this fan base and the size of the Metro New York area, I think, sort of buffers it a little bit.
I think at least one or two of our listeners, they're coming from Portugal to this show.
Is that right?
Yeah, we actually have a listener coming from Portugal.
It's funny you say that, guys. We've already thousands of people have already bought tickets for the show and registered to be there, and I'm actually always quite amazed at how many of them are from outside of New York and from really, really far away places.
Well, it's like, as you said, it's a jaunt to get out to San Diego. I mean, there's a lot to plan, but if it's right here in your backyard, that's just perfect. It's almost a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can tell us this or not, but do you have a target number of people of attendance that you'd like to reach, or is that all hush-hush?
No, I mean, target number of attendance. I mean, we'd like to. Now, there's a couple things on this. It depends on how you count your numbers. I know a lot of shows sort of, if someone buys a 3-day pass, that counts as 3 people.
Right, okay.
So you get some pretty big numbers. In my mind, I actually think about individual people. So if someone buys a 3-day pass or a 1-day pass, it's one person. Right. We may be, this is, again, I'm not saying this is how many will show up, but in my mind, I really would like to think that we should be able to have 15 to 20,000 unique individuals come to the show.
Yeah, that's a good number for a first year con.
It's a very good number for a first year, and if you actually converted that number into the metric that a lot of the other shows use, that really puts you more, in a 35,000.
Wow, that's interesting. I didn't realize how people counted the number sometimes.
Yeah,
because I've been to
it's
shows.
One of the things that's actually challenging about public shows is a lot of people do things very differently, and it's very hard to sort of compare apples to apples. So. You could have, I can tell you this: if 15,000, 20,000 people are in that building, it will be absolutely packed.
Yeah, because I've been to shows where it's like it's pretty packed, and then you hear the numbers of 50,000 people, and you go, "Whoa, 50? I mean, that seems like I don't think I saw 50,000 people."
I know the feeling.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's a bit of a tough thing, being from Reed Exhibitions is a large trade show company. I mean, we run almost 500 shows around the world. And we're very, very strict in terms of auditing our own numbers, in terms of the honesty of and legitimacy of the numbers that we produce. So it can be difficult, where sometimes we'll come out with a number and have a show that delivers 8,000 people, and it's a fabulous show, and we look small by comparison to others that are saying 20, and you just know there isn't. So I think the show will speak for itself. I think that's sort of where we look at it is. The numbers, I think, won't be as meaningful, but when people realize, wow, I was absolutely busy the entire time and I couldn't move at moments, I think that, we'll all realize that, it was busy.
A couple of weeks back was the announcement that Wizard World is also in conjunction or partnership, however you want to say. As much as you're able to get into it for our listeners, if you wanted to know if you wanted to talk about that a little bit.
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, I think the folks at Wizard World have been terrific. They've been really nice to work with. As I mentioned to you about the partnership with Terry on the anime programming, the partnership with Gen Con, one could question and say, well, why would these people work with you? Or why are you working together? Aren't you guys kind of competitive? And I guess in a way we are, but our feeling on Wizard World is, they have, like them or not, popular publications, great databases, and a great reach into the market. They know how to deliver an audience. So our partnership with them really is, it's a sponsorship agreement. They've been very helpful in helping us get the word out through their magazine, their website, newsletters, and helping us sell tickets. We're happy to have them on the show floor. It's I guess there was some confusion. It's definitely, the show is owned by Reed. It's not a Wizard entertainment show. But we simply look at it as we want this to be a major show. We want this to become something that everybody looks at and sort of says, wow, this is the East Coast show that is just absolutely top notch. And our feeling is Wizard definitely helps us get there. So even though in a way I guess we're competitive in the marketplace, I think we both in some ways help elevate the market.
That was there was some speculation when they announced that they were canceling Wizard World Boston that next year's New York Comic-Con show was going to be sponsored by or actually run by Wizard World. There was some things going around the internet.
Oh, wow. Now that's a first for me. I mean, this show is 100% owned and run by Reed Exhibitions.
We could put minds to rest.
Yeah, I mean, it's look, Wizard has their own plans. I don't know what you'd have to ask them about what other events they plan on having and everything else. And I can say that at this point, from our point of view anyway, they've been helpful, and I think they've really helped us gain some size and credibility early in our life. But I don't know what their future plans are. But the show's definitely it's a Reed show.
That's great.
Are there is there going to be any kind of like free comic handout or anything with the purchase of your ticket? I know a lot of shows you get a book or you get some special thing or something when you get your ticket. Is there any kind of thing like that?
Yeah, we've had a few different things. We've got the first 1,000 people to register for the show actually got a Serenity action figure from Diamond Select Toys, but those are all gone now. We also have an illustrator, Arthur Seidem, has done a really cool show poster for us, a Ghost Rider show poster.
Wow.
So I think it's the first 200 or 300 people every day will be getting one of those. And there are actually on our website there's a number of giveaways and show exclusives that our exhibitors are also doing.
Cool.
And one of the cool things, not a giveaway unfortunately because they cost us money to produce, but one of the really neat things too is our first. We wanted to do a show T-shirt, and often show T-shirts tend to be just sort of would say New York Comic Con, would just be sort of our logo. Is Joe Casado was kind enough to do the design for us, and it is actually it's you can see it on our website. It's Spider-Man, but it's his new. It's basically one of the first shots of his new costume.
Yeah, I saw that. Personally, I kind of dig the costume. I think Peter's not a big fan, but I plan on purchasing that shirt.
Yeah, see, there you go. But what we liked about it was the fact that it's a first edition. I mean, it's our inaugural year, and it seems like it's sort of a nice way to sort of commemorate the first show.
It definitely draws attention.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a smart move. What about this show? If there's anybody out there on the fence about going to this show, which really I don't know why they would be. I mean, because it's just too, not to put it in this way, but it's just so convenient to go to this show. If there was anybody still on the fence out there, is there any last thing that you think would push them over to attend?
Well, I hope, if anybody's thinking they're not sure yet, it's either one of two reasons. One is they either don't think the show's cool enough yet or there's enough going on. And I would definitely say go to the website. We're updating every week, and now there's all of our programming information is on there. I'd be shocked if someone didn't find programming talent that gets them excited. So I do think there's something for everybody. I think one thing that often is a fallacy, and I think a turnoff, and it's a great chance for me to talk about is New York. Some people are intimidated, and they say, "Oh, well, New York's so expensive, and I can't afford it, and I can't do this, parking and all this." We've addressed all of those things. New York is definitely an expensive city, But for someone who doesn't want to spend a lot of money, we have hotels ranging from $93 a night that are just under, just over the Lincoln Tunnel in New Jersey. That's 5 minutes from the Javits Center. $93 a night. I have stayed at this hotel. It is a clean, nice hotel. We have a Holiday Inn in the city that's like in the $160 range. So if people are doubling up and tripling up, there's a lot of cities that have hotels that are more expensive than that. And we also have day parking rates at some special lots that we're busing people from that are 5 minutes away from the Javits Center for $8 a day. I think that's a big thing. I hope people don't get intimidated if they're not New York types or they don't like New York. This is, we've really tried to address that, and this is so close to so many people, and it can be done really cheaply.
It figures. I actually lived in New York for about a year. I no longer live there now, so it figures there'd be a big show when I'm not in New York.
Yeah, well, you're coming, right?
Oh no, we're definitely coming.
Okay,
definitely. You couldn't keep us away from this one.
All right.
Or I assume you'll be walking around while the show's happening.
Oh yeah, I'll of course I'll be there several days before, several days after. It's that's one of the tough things is I've worked in this industry for about 10 years, and I have a lot of shows, and it's tough work to begin with, just being at a show. But this is particularly hard because the schedules are so long that even though the show may close at 7 o'clock, your gaming stuff goes on till midnight. You've got anime screenings till midnight, and then you've got to swing over to the knitting factory to make sure everything's. So this is going to be a fun assignment, but definitely a rough one. If I look tired, you'll know why.
Is there something that you personally are looking forward to? Something, maybe not even in the comics world, but, aside from the business side of it, something that you got that went, oh, I can't wait to see this?
I think there's so much of it. I mean, there's a lot of it that I want to see, and then I actually look forward to saying, I really hope no one bothers me, and I can sit down and actually, certainly Kevin Smith. I mean, I'm a Kevin Smith fan, and have seen him at other cons, so, certainly looking forward to him. I think I could go on and on about all the individual stuff that I personally want. I honestly, for me, the big thing is hopefully satisfying the fans. That I know the fans have sort of, there's so much sentiment. And I've gotten so many positive emails and calls saying, "Oh, it's about time. Hope you guys do this. You better stick in this for a few years. Don't just do this 1 year and go." So I think the idea that, such a huge fan base in and around New York, and they haven't had anything even remotely like this. So I think a big part of it for me is just I want to see the fans. I want to see the fans get excited. I want to see the fans say, "Whoa, look at the big booths, and look at the screening room and the banners and sort of the glitzy stuff that we're planning on." So I think that's kind of my number one.
That's great.
Well, fantastic, Greg. We thank you for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem, guys.
And we thank you for putting together what hopefully will be one hell of a show.
I appreciate all your support, and look forward to seeing you guys in February.
All right.
Okay.
Have a good night.
All right, you too.
I know I'm excited.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool because now the show's only, 2 weeks away,
Yeah.
more or less, and I'm ready.
And,
so ready.
I didn't even think about how long the individual days are going. We're used to like 10 to 6, 10 to 5, some shows, and 7. That's a long day. And we're going to be there all day. Then we're going to hit everything all night. And if I don't sleep at all that weekend, it wouldn't surprise me.
I know.
I can't wait.
Yeah, that list, every time I get an email with there's another name on it, and it's just blowing me away.
And the one thing I haven't even gone to yet that I just automatically always go to like Artist Alley, the Artist Alley list, the special guests, but I have yet to even go to like the panels list to see what all the special events.
Yeah, they just put that up, so I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Because there's going to be so many neat things there, especially the screenings.
Yeah, that's a big thing. I mean, at San Diego, they actually showed Serenity before it came out in the theaters, and I don't know how people got on the list to get tickets or whatever, but
right.
I mean, that's a big deal. I mean, it's just like when we got to see Batman, that was a big deal, and so it's very cool when they do stuff like that, and it's a big motivator for people to go, and it's good that he mentioned that stuff is going on till midnight, because I think some people forget about those kind of things, and they say, oh, show's over whenever, and then they go home. It's like, well, you have 5 more hours of potential entertainment if you're into any of that stuff. And those anime people who are fans of anime, I mean, it's great to get to see free screenings of that stuff, and they go crazy for it.
I mean,
so.
if you think about it, Philadelphia, if a show ends at 5, 6 on a Saturday, there's stuff to do, but not like in New York. Like say you want to leave the Jacob Javits Center, if it's still decent weather, you hop on down to Times Square or whatever. You go to a movie, go see a show or something. I mean, there's so much more in the city that I don't know what it was like out in San Diego, but
San Diego is kind of the city like Philly where certain areas are hopping, but most of the city just kind of shuts down after a certain hour, and you have to go get in a car and drive to the place where the clubs are, or where whatever.
And this is all walking distance or subways, or cab.
A 2-minute cab ride. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right, Peter. This should be a good one. It's from Randy Dixon.
Oh, from Connecticut.
Yes, absolutely. And so I'm sure he's got some doozies
Legion
for you.
or something.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Okay. Question number 1, DC. The following names are associated with what group? Chuck, Olaf, Hendy, Stan, Andre, and Chop Chop.
Chuck, Olaf. Say him again. Chuck, Olaf.
Chuck, Olaf, Hendy, Stan, Andre, and Chop Chop.
It's got to be the Blackhawks.
That is correct. Chuck is the listener. Olaf is the leaper. Hendy is the weapons master. Stan is the gold centurion. Andre is Monsieur Machine. And Chop Chop is Dr. Hands.
Okay.
And there's part B of that.
Oh, no.
And what superhero personas did they take on? Oh, I read them.
Oh.
I saw, my eyes played a trick on me, and I looked down in the next question. And,
I would have gotten that anyway.
You wouldn't have?
No.
Okay. Not any of them?
No, they went through some strange permutations. Like they started off like that with just their like Chuck and Andre, and then they went into this whole like superhero almost type mode, and they got these like red and green costumes. But no, I wouldn't have gotten that.
All right. Question 2, Marvel. The group, the Zodiac Cartel, fought the Avengers on a number of occasions. At times, members of the cartel were active in the Avengers storylines without the other members of the cartel. Answer the following. A. Who was Taurus, and who did he handpick to be Aquarius, and why?
Oh, my.
Well, you're earning your pay here, huh?
I know. I don't know who he is, but he picked Submariner. Why not? And why? Because he's a fish. He's part fish.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Cornelius Van Lunt. Okay. He appeared in Avengers 77 as himself and wasn't linked to the Taurus character until Avengers 122. He picked Darren Bentley to represent Aquarius, which was Mr. Lunt's own sign. Part B. Who was Scorpio?
That is Nick Fury's brother, Jake. Jake.
That is correct, Jacob Fury. Who did Libra father?
Mantis, I think. Yes?
Yes.
Mantis. He was in Avengers Forever, that character.
Extra credit. Who was Gemini's twin brother?
Gemini 2.
Damian Link.
Oh, no.
Yeah. All right. Question 3, independent.
Do I have to write an essay for this next one?
Doc Savage had 5 assistants. His cousin Pat doesn't count. They were each an expert in their respective fields. Who were they, and what were their occupations?
No, I couldn't even venture a guess.
All right. Monk was a chemist. Ham was a lawyer. Rennie, civil engineer. Johnny, archaeologist. And Long Tom, electrical engineer.
Wait We have to do a little algebra to figure out what I owe for this.
Oh my God, yeah, I don't know. That's
Well, definitely not the last one, so at least a quarter. Good questions, though.
Wow.
I think those Doc Savage. I wonder if that team that you just mentioned is what Warren Ellis based that Doc Bronze, I guess his name is, in Planetary, and he also had like a group that he worked with. And
Yeah.
I guess they were based on like Shadow or whatever. But
I read there was an article on Doc Savage in back issue, I don't know, about 2 issues ago or something like that. And it was pretty interesting. It kind of, it's one of those things where it makes me wish that there was a new series going on that was a quality that I could sink my teeth into. And I think it's kind of in the same vein as the whole Indiana Jones kind of thing, a little bit. And it makes me like very happy to be reading Athena Voltaire, because I get that fix, because that genre, there is not a plethora of books in that, and it's something that I really enjoy. So since there's no Doc Savage, I'll read Athena Voltaire, and until something else comes out, because everybody loves Indiana Jones, and yet it's something that's just not used enough. I wonder if it's because indie is so definitive of that genre now that anyone feels like anything they do will be compared to Indiana Jones. Like the 2 Mummy movies were very good because they were right in there in the 30s and the 40s. What archaeology? Hey, boom! It's fun. It can be a lot of fun if you just
Tomb Raider.
Yeah, well, Tomb Raider's modern, but it's kind of the same. Yeah,
Or that the one with Noah Wyle, the librarian or whatever, which was it was like a TNT movie or USA. Yeah, it was like a mixture of Indiana Jones, Mummy, and Tomb Raider. It was like this whole amalgamation of things, but it was still it was aiming at that same target audience.
Things things like that for me are always much more fun when they're set in the 20s, 30s, or 40s, because there's something about that era that just lends itself to being cool. Just the kind of low-tech stuff is more exciting.
We should actually, we haven't, but the pulp era, Doc Savage, and I guess you could even count Shadow and Tarzan and or in the sci-fi like Buck Rogers and all that, Flash Gordon. That's the stuff we haven't really looked at any of that stuff, and that's like all precursor to comic books, and they're the archetypes of everything that came after. So one of these days we're going to have to
I should get my hands on some of that. The problem is, I guess a lot of those collections are hardcovers and they're expensive, or there might be some that are affordable.
Those Flash Gordon ones, those Alex Raymond Flash Gordon, they're like they're soft cover and they're like sideways.
Right. I'm sure Bruce has some of that stuff or knows about some of that stuff.
Yeah. One of these days we're going to have to get our hands on some of those.
Because I might be able to get into it. I just worry that it has that cheese factor because it was done so long ago and things were simpler then or whatever. And I love the concept. I just kind of wish it was done now so it could be more meaty or something. I don't know. But I shouldn't judge it before I read it. That's not fair.
Back on, let's see, whenever this is going to air, but February 8th, there's certain books that came out that I thought I'd give a little shout out to. For independent comics, Jeremiah Harm #1 came out. That's from Boom Studios. That's a Keith Giffen written book. Check that out. That's going along, all the craziness that he loves to write about. Owly Volume 1, The Way Home trade paperback is $10 from Top Shelf. Shaun of the Dead hardcover. There was a Shaun of the Dead hardcover. It's $40, but I thought, if anybody's into that genre and into Shaun of the Dead, might as well check that out. Marvel put out Essential Peter Parker Spectacular Spider-Man Volume 2. They also put out the Marvel Monsters hardcover for $20.99. I think that was the that month of all those random one-shots that Eric Powell did the covers. The Showcase Presents House of Mystery came out for DC. The Death and Return of Donna Troy trade is out. JLA 125, which is the last issue. And there was something from Dark Horse called the Star Wars The Comics Companion trade paperback. It was 1995. I know we have some Star Wars readers out there. Yeah.
And Chris from the Collected Comics Library.
So I just wanted to give a little shout out to what came out last week.
We haven't even gone over previews for this month, have we?
Nope. We just haven't had the time. Too many interviews.
Wow. Should we wait for the other guys or should we do that?
We can do that if you want. We certainly got the time.
Let me grab my previews.
All right, I can
Van,
start.
Peter.
Yeah. So this will be for book shipping in April, correct? Yep. And what I'll do is while he's doing that, I'll just make another quick announcement of our indie challenge for the month. 4 books that are discounted 45% off the original price. Superior Showcase #1 from Ad House Books on page 207 of previews. Super Team Topia #1 from Alias, that's on page 210. Horrorwood #1, Ape Entertainment, page 218. And Werewolves Call of the Wild #1, page 298 from Moonstone. They're all 45% off. DCBSservice.com. And if you don't have a previews, you can just go to their other section under preview on their website and just do a search, and it'll all pop up. Do a title search. So those are our indie challenge. Get behind them, pre-order them. Let's see how let's see if we can help these guys out. They're doing some great stuff. Harwood, Brent Schoonover's artwork is on the forum. I know Werewolves Call of the Wild. You can see some preview stuff on that on the forum. So let's help them out there.
Just a reminder that Cameron is selling these at his cost, so they couldn't be any cheaper. He's not making a dime on any of these that you order for that month. So that shows a commitment to the independent genre and trying to help these people out.
Yep. Have you gone through this previews or any kind of like?
I'm trying to remember. Well, in the first issues of the Annihilation miniseries begin. Looking forward to that. I mean, and what's funny about that is, here's an example of how this show has changed my comic reading habits. Is I was never really a big cosmic fan.
Right.
Like, it just never really clicked with me. In fact, a lot of it kind of turned me off. It had the opposite effect. But now that I'm so immersed in the world of comics, now I'm like all excited. It's like, ooh, this event in Marvel and it's cosmic, so now it's like maybe I'll actually enjoy cosmic, and I want to, with a new open mind, I want to explore this, and I want to sink my teeth into it and see if it's any good and talk about it with you guys and see what the people say in the phone. I'm like all excited about this book that I normally would not have been excited. If this was a year ago, I completely would have been like, oh, who the hell cares, and just gone right past it. So
Marvel's has a rich cosmic history. I mean, the Kree Skrull War. Anytime Fantastic Four fought Galactus, the Watchers. There
are aspects of it that I like, but on the whole, it never really sucked me in. So
there hasn't been many things. The Quasar series from back in the early '90s is like the last.
Yeah, and I liked Quasar for a while. It was pretty good. And of course, Moon Knight #1 this month.
Yep.
We can't forget that.
And those 4 Annihilations, for those people who don't know, it's Nova, Ronin, Silver Surfer, and the Super Skrull. All #1 issues. There's a second Fantastic Four Visionaries by Perez. Visionaries Trade, 1999. Covers
Avengers and Power Pack Assemble, #1.
Yeah, that's important.
Maybe for those with young children.
I know, I'm kidding.
I'll be buying that in a couple of years.
Fantastic Four 537 is supposedly supposed to be an important issue of like the beginnings of either Civil War or a long dead character coming back to life. So check that issue out.
Yeah, I don't know if this is when it gets so hard to stay in your budget.
Oh yeah. What else? New Avengers Annual 1 is the wedding of Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Yeah. I'm seeing what else is interesting here. I know there were a bunch.
I was gonna say, what about your trades? Got to be something in your trades.
Well, yeah, there are a few. I was trying to go through the monthlies too, just to see if there was anything that I was getting. But Wolverine Origins #1.
Oh, okay.
I don't know whether to be excited about that or not. I'm gonna pick up the first issue because he has it. Well, he has it for 50% off at DCBS.
Okay.
So $1.50. I guess I'll try it and see. It could be interesting. It could be dreadfully boring. I don't know. So
their plan is interesting, if they follow through with it, getting him out of certain books and just keeping him in, I guess, New Avengers, his own book, and Astonishing X-Men, and then the second Wolverine title. So it seems like they're pulling back in some areas just so they can focus on other areas where he really should belong or where it makes more sense. So,
well, this in trades this month for Marvel. I'm going to get the Spider-Man the Other hardcover.
Okay.
Because I did not read any of that, and it's 12 comics, and DCBS has it for $15, so that's a good price. So I'm going to pick that up. I'm sure some people will want to get the Defenders Giffen DeMatteis McGuire hardcover. That's out.
How much is that hardcover going for?
That's a $20 one for 5. It's only 5 comics for $20. You know, but again, I don't know if it's 50% off, so it could be affordable. I think, and the only other Marvel trade that I'm picking up is there's an Essentials something. Oh yeah, the Essential X-Men. Wait a minute.
Is it New Mutants? There's like the New Mutants Volume 1. Is that a trade or is that an Essential?
That's a trade, I think. I'm getting Essential X-Men Volume 7 is what I'm getting.
Okay.
Where the hell is that New Mutants thing? Here it is. It's Classic Volume 1 trade. It's Marvel Graphic Novel number 5, New Mutants 1 through 7, and Uncanny X-Men 167. So it's kind of... I wonder if they're going to trade the whole... See, this is the thing that makes me nervous. Like, well, are they going to trade the whole New Mutants run, or are they just going to do, like, this first one just to... for whatever reason? I don't know.
And what's classic? What's that mean? You know, it's like, is that another trade paperback line that's just normal size?
Right, and color instead of black and white. I don't know. You never know what Marvel's going to do.
There's also a new printing of the X-Men Dark Phoenix saga for anyone out there who doesn't have that on their shelf. You should. There's also the second X-Men: The Complete Age of Apocalypse epic book. Well, it says book 3. Not second, sorry. And the Young Avengers Volume 1 Sidekicks trade paperback instead of a hardcover. So if anybody hasn't picked up Young Avengers and you're interested in that, check that out.
There's a lot from DC this month.
Oh, God, don't tell me. It's the last issue of Infinite Crisis. It's Villains United Special. Checkmate number 1. I'm
getting that. I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
I had heard of Checkmate, but I never read anything that had any of it in, and except for that OMAC story, and that whole concept intrigued me. So I'm there for the.
And it was a pretty intriguing concept back when it first came out, like right out of Action and Superman and stuff like that. And it had its own series. It was kind of different, and it was neat. It was like DC's version of S.H.I.E.L.D. in a way,
Right.
And then they dropped off, and they would pop up in random things here and there, and you never knew where they were. And then next thing you know, they totally disappeared, and then they brought it back again. So I think it's smart.
And that's Greg Rucka, right?
Yeah.
So he loves that whole spy thing. Like, I'm reading that Queen and Country novel now, and it's awesome. And so
that's great.
That's one of the things that kind of convinced me to try it out.
I also like that they didn't come up with a new one. They're just instead of coming up with a new agency, they're going to use an established one. Kind of makes sense. Ion number 1, Kyle Rayner's new
What is
series.
that all? I mean, what's the story there?
Did you read Ranthanagar War, the special that just came out? I'll have to let you borrow that because I picked that up.
No, I didn't read the special. In fact, I'm only like halfway. I still have 2 issues of the miniseries to go.
Okay.
So I guess something happens in there, and all right.
Which I'm sure we'll probably talk about in our next Infinite Crisis special. Trying to hit number 1s or special events. Battle for Bloodhaven number 1. That miniseries begins this month. To order for this month, I should say. 7 Soldiers number 1 is the last issue of that entire saga. It's interesting. It's the last issue, but it reads like it could still go if they wanted to. I mean, it doesn't. The solicitation doesn't seem like it's ending on a clean note. So we'll see what happens there. There's the Hawkman trade paperback Golden Eagle for $17.99. It's really good. It's Palmiotti and his writing partner, which I can't remember right now. Maybe it's Mick Gray, I think. Joe Bennett does most of the artwork, and it followed like a whole year-long thing that happened in Hawkman's world before he ventures off into like Ranthanagar War and Infinite Crisis. So good. It was really good. And especially as a Teen Titans fan, Golden Eagle was brought back, and it really is an interesting story.
Showcase Haunted Tank for all those people out there who are into that.
And that stuff you can't find. So if you're one of those War Comics fans, It's not easy to find that stuff unless you buy it, and that's expensive, so that's perfect. What else did I have a question on? There's some of these, like a lot of this is all, the second issues of the 1 year later stuff. Yeah. So I'm thinking of giving them like 3 issues, the ones that I'm like on the fence about. Like the Aquaman one. What's another one that's kind of like some of the, we'll see where Catwoman goes, see if I want to continue with that. Robin, I'm not sure if I'll continue with that after a couple issues, so we'll see. I know they have a plan, so gotta kind of give them a little leeway on that.
I'm looking forward to the second Legion trade because I really enjoyed the first one.
You finished that off then?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Let's see. There's an Ex Machina special.
Yeah, I saw that.
I think that's probably a good way. If people haven't been reading that, maybe you can jump in on that.
The main character's past is revealed. That's a 2-part story. Mm-hmm. Interesting. So there's going to be special number 2 then. Yeah.
Sandman Mystery Theater trade paperback number 4.
I know. I wish I had those trades. I have scattered issues, but
they're so good.
That's such an awesome run.
That's a run that's it's Vertigo, but it's
in the DCU.
Yeah, it's on par with like Starman,
right.
with the tone and stuff like that. It's worth it. It definitely is worth it to check that out. If you don't like the capes and tights, if you don't like the superpowers, but you still like your mystery men and your adventure, that's the book to go to.
New Y trade. So I'm always looking forward to that. And here's one I'm tempted to get. I'm not sure. The first Loveless trade.
Okay.
That Brian Azzarello Western. Because I don't, Westerns can be good when they're done right. I don't know what the general thought is about this, but it's 5 issues. The trade's only $10, so it's going to be no more than $6 at DCBS. So I'm probably going to get it just to try it. For $6, what the heck?
It's almost worth it. There's some indie things that Atomica number 8 is solicited. It's either 8 or 9. On one page it says 8, on another page it says 9. I think it should be 8. Athena Voltaire number 4. Kind of, I'm not happy about it, but there was nothing in the Tomorrow section this month, so it's kind of like I get a little break on that,
Wait, I thought the John Byrne thing was this month.
Oh, I'm not getting that one though.
Wow.
I'll borrow somebody's on that.
Okay, because that I'm
sure
Marvel
you'll get it.
Modern Masters or whatever. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Since now that I've switched over and getting Wizard on subscription too, that's another like $3 that I don't have to worry. I get to play with.
Giant sized 125th issue of Savage Dragon.
Part of me wants to read that. There are a lot of fans of that.
I know. I read the first miniseries and then the first 6 or so issues of the ongoing when it first came out, and I didn't dislike it. And it was just one of those things I cut back, and then Image had a bad taste in my mouth, and then I was like, I can't read any Image books, and so I dropped it. But
somebody out there, let us know what trade would hook us. I don't want to start at the beginning because it's still too raw. He hadn't really found where he wanted to go with. So whoever's been reading that consistently, there goes a mic. Let us know which trade or which issues to look at that'll hook us on that, because I'll go to New York and I'll pick them up, cheap.
We have the first trade here that somebody sent us.
Oh,
so
we do?
If you want to read that, it's sitting in our library to be read.
Our library of books on the floor.
They're not on the floor. They're on the shelf.
Sorry.
Give some respect.
Go to page 307. It's under Oni. I wrote down My Inner Bimbo, number 1 by Sam Keith.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
What's the description on that?
Sam Keith returns to Oni Press for a new 5-issue miniseries. There are 2 sides to every coin, every story, and every person. No matter how hard you try to hide that second face away, you can never get rid of it. That's why one man is about to learn when his underdeveloped feminine side materializes into a very real bubblegum-chewing bimbo and turns his world upside down. Boy, that sounds like Sam Keith, doesn't it?
Yeah, I read that and I went, because I know there's people who love Sam Keith, so I was like, look at that. And then on page 346 is that book that Chris Staros was talking about from Top Shelf called Every Girl is the End of the World for Me.
Oh, yeah.
The graphic novel, $8.
Yeah, it's only $8.
Mm-hmm. Who's that? Jeffrey Brown? John? What's his name?
Jeffrey Brown.
Jeffrey Brown. I loved his AEIOU. I really connected with that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I liked it as well.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't expecting to like it at all. It's funny. I saw some guy reading that on the trolley in San Diego. Like
Really?
they had left the convention. We were going back to hotel, and he was, was packed. The trolley's always packed, and so he's standing right next to me, and I'm like bumping up against him, and he's reading it because it's a tiny little book, so he could have no. And I was looking over my shoulder at it, and I was like, "What the hell is that crap?" And then I read it, and I was like, "Wow, that was great!"
And it's simplistic art, line art. It's almost doodle if you want to. It's like doodlings almost more than anything, and it's just something about that story. So when Chris mentioned that, I was like, I may have to pick that up.
Yeah, well, especially because it'll be about 25 or 30% off or something, so then it'll be a good price. And actually, there is something people might be interested in from tomorrow's. It's Collected Jack Kirby Collector, Volume 5. It reprints issues 20, 21, and 22 of the sold-out Jack Kirby Collector. So if you're into that, that's $25, which is a good price because they're $10 each.
Yeah,
so you're saving $5.
It's a big list. There's not much out. I mean, other than like the stuff we talked about, Annihilation and things like that. I mean, most of it is kind of just story, just regular comics here and there. There wasn't anything that really jumped out this month, even though it's still an expensive month.
Oh, and they're also, it's on page 361 of previews. They're releasing Will Eisner's The Plot in softcover. And that's being offered for the first time. It's $15.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm really
Shane has that.
thinking. Yeah, I know. Maybe I should just read his. I don't know. It's Will Eisner. They kind of like to own it.
Yeah. Mouse Guard 2 is out on page 220. So if you picked up Mouse Guard 1 from our Indie Challenge 2 months ago, Mouse Guard 2 is solicited.
I'm really looking forward to reading that. I can't wait till that comes. It just looks so good.
I was a big fan of Mrs. Frisbee and the Rats of Nim, the book, and then The Secret of Nim.
Oh, yeah.
So, and Watership Down and any kind of like anthropomorphic kind of, I don't know if that's the right. Well, yeah, I guess it is, giving human qualities to animals, yeah.
And let's not forget that there's an 18-inch figure of Scarface being offered with sound. So I'm sure he says, "Say hello to my little friend." And what else? There's a Bubba Hotep figure, too. Oh, man.
Hey, somebody's buying them.
That's great, though.
That's cool. There you go. Your books to buy. Let us know what you're buying. Well, they already did on the forum. They already started.
Let's see. What time is it here? I was wondering, should we try calling somebody?
Sure.
I got Matt S.'s phone number here.
Let's do it.
Let's.
Because we tried him before, right?
I think so, and he wasn't home or something.
He's out in Chicago, so he might... 2 hours behind?
1 hour.
Oh, just one? Oh, okay. Maybe he just got off at work or something. It's probably posting on the forum as we speak. While Brian's dialing, don't forget to check out our scavenger hunt and our book of the month for this month, Wanted. You can go to our homepage and go to the news section. Check it out.
He's not going to be home.
Come on.
He's probably driving home from work right now.
Is there a law in Chicago you can't answer the phone? Can't talk on the phone or anything?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably his home phone number.
Hey, you reached Matt Summers' voicemail box. I'm not here at this time, but leave your name, number, and a brief message, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks.
Matt.
Get off the forum.
Yeah, you're probably sitting at work posting instead of being at home answering the phone call. We tried to reach out to you, buddy, but now you're probably too busy with that other podcast, and you don't have time for us. So I guess we'll call you back
We're like
again.
Scorned lovers.
That's right. You bastard. Why aren't you home? Why aren't you waiting at our beck and call? All right, man. We'll talk to you soon.
That's funny.
Ay, ay, ay. We always get, this call me segment. I like it, but it pisses me off sometimes. Oh, hey, here we go.
What do you got?
Maxim Glory.
Okay.
Let's do it.
Especially since we talked about New York Comic Con, so maybe we can get his answer, see if he's actually coming
Yeah.
to New York Comic Con. Might get his wife. Should call him Maxim. What the heck?
What? Did we just get disconnected?
I don't know.
His wife put auto reject on a. I guess nothing's happening.
No. Try it again. Oh, that was weird. Or what if he rushed to the phone and
then
knocked it
dropped
over? So excited.
Hello,
Hello, is Rick there?
speaking.
Rick, this is Brian Deemer.
Oh my God.
How you doing? This is Peter.
doing great, doing great. Let me get to a quiet spot here.
Where you at? You at work?
No, actually, I'm at a gymnastics class for my oldest.
Oh, okay.
What a shock.
This makes
How's it going?
It's going well. This makes gymnastics class a little easier to handle, doesn't it?
Oh, congratulations, by the way.
Oh, thank you very much.
It's going to be a fun time, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's going to be a whole nother generation of comic geeks.
Ah, bro. So what's going on? Who's there?
It's just Peter and I.
Yep.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah, we're kicking it old school tonight here,
More love to spread around from Maxim Glory.
We just talked to Greg Topalian from New York Comic Con, and when Brian mentioned your name, we went, "Oh, this is perfect. We can ask you on the air. What are your plans for New York Comic Con?"
As far as last night,
Uh-huh.
it looks like all lights are green. It looks like we're going.
Nice.
Fantastic.
So I'm really psyched about that. Beyond excited. I'm speechless.
And when you say we, is that you and your wife or the whole family?
The whole family.
Wow. And how many, you said you're oldest. How many kids do you have?
I have two. I
okay.
have an 11-year-old and a 9-year-old.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah, just at the right age.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. And we've seen pictures of one of your children reading comics, correct?
Yes, that would be my oldest, yeah.
Awesome.
Actually, they both do. They both do, but the other one's a little camera shy, so.
Wow. Well, that's great. We're really, really looking forward to meeting you, and I know half the forum is too. Since you did those Stump the Rios, you're like the champion of all listeners or something now,
Yeah, my bigger question is whether I should go in costume or not. Should Nick Fury show up or should Max Glory be actually there?
Yeah, I don't know. That's tough. Because...
But you know what? It's perfect because all you really need to bring is the eye patch. If you think about it, you bring your shield jacket or shirt and just leave it there. But then all you got to do is whip out the eye patch and you're done. That's it.
Yeah, I just have to remember which eye it goes on.
Because the second you put it on the wrong eye, some geeked out fanboy is going to be like, dude, that's on the wrong side.
Exactly.
Hey, can I ask, did you order did you ask for a convention shirt?
Not yet. I was been a little busy with pre-production for the next video, so haven't really had much time to get on the board that much. Yeah, like a 2X.
Who are we talking to? Robert Rodriguez here? What are you doing? Pre-production for the next video? Are you kidding me?
He's hardcore, man. Come on.
We are going all out this time. We've got the help of a couple of members of the forum behind me, and I actually got sponsored by another member of the forum. So this one
That's
is going to
awesome.
be really spectacular.
If you have ILM special effects, I'm just going to be so jealous. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say just yet. All will be revealed, my friend.
Hey, the reason what size would you get if a T-shirt? What size would you need?
2XL.
2XL. Did we order?
Yeah,
some?
yeah, we got
okay.
some of those.
I'll tell you what. I'm going to give that to you when we see you for all the great videos. Stump the Reoses. It's going to be my gift to you.
Oh, thank you very much.
You're welcome. Looking forward to meeting you. Definitely.
Oh yeah, it's going to be fun. Have the videos ready. Have the cameras ready.
Absolutely.
The multimedia extravaganza.
That's right.
Have you been reading anything lately while you're messing around in front of a camera?
I have been wrapped up in showcases. They're
Cool.
all over the house. The Green Arrow upstairs, the Justice League up in the Spidey room, the Superman in the bathroom. I mean, they're just all over the place. I can't put them down.
Which one's your favorite so far?
Oh, Green Lantern, without a doubt.
Oh, cool.
That Silver Age Hal Jordan was a monster. He was a pig.
Yeah, he was, man. I'm reading that one too. I was surprised, to say the
Sort
least.
of like cringing when he's just, pressing himself up against Carol Ferris, against the file cabinet. He's just, like, whoa.
He's a hot dog fly boy. What can you expect,
Yeah.
John
Stewart would never do that.
That's right.
Whoops, was that a spoiler for my next one? I'm sorry. Edit that out.
Ah.
There's no editing on the show. You know better.
That's awesome. I can't wait. Now I want to see it. What can we expect that? Are we talking weeks or what?
I'd say a couple of weeks. We're still having some problems in the costume department, but you can look forward to at least 3 characters.
Wow.
That's awesome.
We're reprising the role of Nick Fury. He's going to be our host,
Of course.
as it were, and a couple of surprise guests to stop by.
Now here's a question for you. Can you get your wife in costume?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
I approached her with the cloak and dagger theory, and she didn't really go for that.
That's awesome. God.
Cool, man. Well, we appreciate you taking our call, and like
no
we
problem.
said before, we're excited to meet you.
I'm excited too.
Cool.
I can't wait. And I just want to say hello to everybody out there in CGS land. And I just wanted to personally thank all the members of CGS for making my life so much better the last few months.
Great. Well, we're glad we can entertain you any way possible.
Great.
You guys make it worth it.
We'll see you on the board.
See ya.
Okay.
Take care.
Good night.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
That's cool.
You know, it's funny. It's like, it's weird to describe, but some of our listeners, they get excited when they get to meet us because, we're the voices behind the mics or whatever. And but I'm like, we're really, really excited to meet Rick. Like, it's so silly. Like, he's just some guy, but it's like, it's almost like he's drawing my favorite comic book or something. I'm all excited to meet him.
He's like an ultra fan. I mean, it's just so. God, if you haven't seen those Stump the Rioses, I mean, do we have them linked anywhere or
you know what?
section or anything?
I've been slacking. They're not on the website, but he's got. If you go to the forum and search,
do a
video
topic
or
search
something,
for video. Yep.
He has them linked because he put them on his website that you can watch them. And I really should talk to him about just putting them on our website too because they're fun.
They're phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
All right.
Cool.
Well. This episode of Comic Geek Speak was sponsored by the New York City Comic Con, held February 24th, 25th, and 26th at the Jacob Javits Center in New York. Cost for a Friday ticket is $15, Saturday or Sunday ticket is $25, or the 3-day pass is only $35. So you've heard plenty about it, so please join us. And big thanks to Greg Topalian for talking to us and giving us the lowdown on the show and how some of the inner workings. If you want to email us, it's comicgeekspeak@gmail.com, and our website is comicgeekspeak.com. And a big thanks to upallnightgaming.com for hosting the website. And please, please, please vote for us at Podcast Alley. Go to comicgeekspeak.com/vote, and it will take you right to where you need to go. It only takes about 30 seconds, and it helps us out tremendously. We do have some T-shirts available on the swag section of our website, so if you're so inclined, please have a go. As usual, we're brought to you in conjunction with worldfamouscomics.com, your spot on the internet for the best comic book and entertainment-related columns, contests, features, reviews, news resources, and more. As always, we are uniting the world's mightiest heroes, one listener at a time.